You might think commercial laundry is pretty simple, just bigger machines and way more soap, right? Well, what if I told you that behind every single perfectly clean, bright white sheet, there's a secret science at play? And that to solve the industry's biggest problems, like those stubborn stains or damaged linens, you actually have to think like a detective.
I mean, this is the question that drives people crazy, isn't it? You're following the formula, you're running the machines just like you're supposed to, but the results? They're all over the place. Linens come out yellow, they have these little pinholes, or they've got the same exact stains they went in with. It's this frustrating, expensive cycle of rewashing everything.
But the answer isn't to just throw more chemicals at the problem or to keep guessing. See, the real culprit is almost always something you can't even see. It's lurking in your water supply or hiding in the chemical reactions happening inside the machine. So today, we're going to show you how the pros find these hidden enemies, not with hunches, but with pure, hard data.
Now, every good detective needs their toolkit. And in the laundry world, that essential tool is the chemical test kit. This right here is what makes the invisible visible. It's what separates the real pros from the amateurs.
So what exactly is it? Well, think of a laundry test kit as basically a laboratory in a box. It lets you analyze everything from the water coming into your building to the exact chemical mix happening inside the washer, second by second. It totally replaces guesswork. No more, I think there's enough bleach. Now you have concrete numbers.
Laundry consultant Bob Natale has the perfect analogy for this. He says that trying to diagnose a laundry problem without data is just like a doctor prescribing medicine without doing an exam first. It's basically malpractice. You wouldn't trust a doctor who does that, right? So why would you trust a chemical program that isn't based on a real diagnosis?
Okay, so where does this whole investigation start? It starts at the source. Before you even think about the washing machines, you have to interrogate the single biggest ingredient you're using, the water.
And I'm not talking about a quick check. A full water profile is this deep dive into everything. You're looking at hardness. That's the mineral content that can literally stop your soap from working. You check alkalinity, iron, chlorine, and even the temperature for both your hot and cold water lines. Every single one of these can totally change your wash results and dictate exactly what chemicals you need.
And this methodical process is how you crack real-world cases. Get this, there was a laundry getting hammered by these mystery iron stains. So the team tests the cold water. Nothing, no iron. They test the hot water. Still no iron. But then they test the water that's heated directly by steam, and bingo, iron found. Turns out the iron was flaking off of old, aging steam lines and poisoning the wash. They never would have found that without testing each step.
And this is exactly why knowing your water is so critical. Let's say you have that iron problem, but you don't know it. You just see a stain. What's your first instinct? Add more bleach, right? But here's the thing. Iron acts like a catalyst for bleach. It turbocharges it. So you're not just failing to remove the stain, you're literally burning holes in your fabric and destroying your linens.
All right, so once you've figured out the water supply, the investigation moves inside the machine. This is where you start examining the evidence during the wash cycle to see if your formulas are actually doing what you think they're doing. The key tool here is something called titration. Now, it sounds super technical, but it's actually pretty simple. It's just a way to pull a water sample right out of the wash wheel and measure the exact concentration of a chemical. For example, are you really getting 200 parts per million of bleach in there, or is something killing it off before it can work? Titration gives you the truth. Here's a perfect case file. A competitor's service report for a big tunnel washer said everything was fine, a healthy 200 parts per million of bleach. But the linens were still coming out stained. So a proper titration test was done, and guess what it revealed? The real level was only 20. It turned out an anti-chlorine agent was being injected in the wrong spot, basically sabotaging the bleach. A simple titration test uncovered this massive mistake.
And this testing isn't just about getting stains out, it's also critical for safety. The final pH of the linen matters a lot. For stuff in healthcare, you want a pH of around 6 to 6.5 to be compatible with skin. But for very specific things like wound care items, it has to be perfectly neutral at a pH of 7.0, or it could cause serious irritation. Even for a table napkin that's going to touch a customer's mouth, you want it around 6.5. This data ensures you're putting out a product that's not just clean, but safe.
So we've gone through all the science, but let's talk about what really matters. How does this actually help you win business? Let's look at how cracking this chemical code leads directly to getting and keeping happy clients.
In a super competitive market like New York City, Bob Natale says you have to remember you are always being interviewed by your customers. They're watching everything, just waiting for a mistake. Building trust isn't about being friendly. It's about proving your expertise and delivering perfect results time and time again. And data? Data is your proof.
I mean, just look at the difference here. When you're just guessing, your rewash rate is through the roof, which skyrockets your two biggest costs, labor and energy. You're shortening the life of your linens, and your client's trust is, well, fragile at best. But when you're driven by data, everything gets optimized. You slash rewash, you save a ton of money, your assets last longer, and you build that rock-solid trust you need to grow your business.
At the end of the day, it really all comes down to this one single number. 1. The whole goal of a scientifically managed laundry is to wash every single load correctly one time. Anything more than that, and you're on what Bob calls the merry-go-round of goods. This incredibly expensive, wasteful cycle where linens just keep coming back to be washed again, absolutely killing your productivity and your profits.
And here it is. This might be the most powerful takeaway of all. One time, when Bob was at a potential client's facility, he pulled out his test kit to do a titration. And the client looked at him and said, "You know, I have never, ever seen my current chemical company do this." That simple act of showing his work, of being diligent and transparent, immediately made him stand out from the competition. It proves that winning isn't just about solving problems, it's about showing you have the expertise to find them in the first place.
So, we'll leave you with this question to think about. After seeing just how much can be hiding in the water, in the chemistry, what invisible culprits might be lurking in your own operation right now, quietly draining your money and your resources? The tools to find them are out there.